Hey everyone, Shadow Rockets here, and today I have a pretty important topic to discuss with you all. I know it's Monday and we're getting into it early in the week, but that's just the schedule that we picked. This is Self-Help Monday or Mental Health Monday. So, for this topic, as you could tell by the title, I am going to be discussing feminism and essentially efficiencies in America, or efficiencies of decision making. Or maybe even ethics, I should say, rather than efficiency. But no, it kind of falls under efficient decision making. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and define feminism, and that is, it is a range of movements and ideologies that share a common goal: to define, establish, and achieve equal political, economic, cultural, personal, and social rights for women. This includes seeking to establish equal opportunities for women in education and employment. A feminist advocates or supports the rights and equality of women. Feminist movements have campaigned and continue to campaign for women's rights, including the right to vote, to hold public office, to work, to fair wages or equal pay, to own property, to education, to enter contracts, to have equal rights within marriage, and to have maternity leave. They've also worked to promote bodily autonomy and integrity, and to protect women and girls from rape, sexual harassment, and domestic violence. Now, those are pretty hard-hitting topics there at the end, and I'm sorry to throw that in. I know, like I said, this is going to be a very deep, well, not so much deep conversation. It's just a little thought-provoking, but I am going to hit on those darker notes sporadically throughout this conversation. And I like to think that this is just a conversation between you and I. So, I'm actually going to tell you why I am a feminist, why I support this. I know it's kind of a twist. The title may have thrown a lot of you off, but I do support equality of women. I don't understand, personally, why someone would think that a woman would not be as good at doing something as a man, or why you would pay them less just because they're female. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I'm for, just like the title says, efficiency. And I feel that's just kind of who I am because I'm an engineer, necessarily, because I'm an engineer. And I think that explains a lot of my standpoint. I'm very analytical in my thinking, and I feel like the best person should be in any given situation. You know, I was definitely supporting, I've always just supported whoever is the best at something should be doing that something. So women on the front lines in the military, why not have them there? Women in special forces, why not have them there? If they're better than a man at doing something, I would rather have them there. If they're better at leading a company, if someone's more qualified to lead a company, I'd rather have that person there. Now, that's not to say that we should go the complete opposite way. I'm very neutral in a lot of situations. I'm not an extremist by any means, and I feel that that's the best way to do things. Now, I also feel that you could change or you could sway a lot of the gender roles in society today, such as, like, a lot of girls don't pick STEM education or STEM degrees, I should say, because they're told, like, oh, that's a guy's thing to do. The guys are given Legos or Lincoln Logs or whatever when they were born and said, all right, you can be an architect, you can be an engineer. And girls are given Barbies. Like, I'm not cool with that. I'd rather the child from early on kind of decide what they want in life. And I'm not really going to force them to do anything. My parents, my parents gave me Lincoln Logs and they gave me Legos and video games and whatnot early on. And that kind of molded me into who I am today. But that's because I enjoyed those things. It's not necessarily because they told me to do those things. If I wanted to be a doctor, I would be a doctor. If I wanted to be a lawyer, I'd be a lawyer. If I wanted to be a nurse, I'd be a nurse. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with, if I wanted to be a dancer, I would be a dancer. Like, I don't judge people based on their choices, nor should anybody, because they're doing what they enjoy doing. So that's just what makes sense to me. Life is much too short. I mean, I've already gone through, let's just say 100 years. I've already gone through over a fifth of my life, and I enjoyed it. I am doing math and science, and those are things that I thoroughly enjoy. And I'm wondering how many people can say that nowadays. How many people can say they're doing what they like, not because they're told to do that thing, but because they choose to do that thing. And I think that that is the real basis of the problem in the world today, is we're forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. Transgendered people, I support them being in the military, being in the front lines. They can do anything that anyone else can do. Physically, they are perfectly capable of it. Mentally, they're probably perfectly capable of it. I mean, everyone is different. I'm not going to say that every single person is mentally capable of being in the military or mentally stable enough to be in the military. I don't know if I could be in the military. I'm exceptionally smart. I'm an engineering student about to graduate, and I'm doing fine, but I don't think that I could pull the trigger and be okay with it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why society needs to force its ideals onto people, or why even racism. I don't understand why that's a thing, why that's even in existence today, or ever, really. I mean, just because some sort of people, some group of people choose to live their life one way doesn't mean that that's the wrong way to live. I mean, minorities, just because they have different cultures, different ideals about things, and different, I guess, even desires on what they want, as opposed to majority. I mean, obviously a majority and minority, they're different for a reason. They have differing ideals or differing opinions in some sort of scenario. I mean, even let's say in a room of just white people, for that matter, there could be 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and those 2 Democrats are a minority. That's kind of what I'm talking about with minorities. But I'm also talking about ethnic minorities. You know, it's just because something is different from you doesn't make it wrong, and just because you're part of a majority in a situation doesn't make you right either. So I encourage you all to just think for a second about, maybe, okay, is this what I want to do in life? Is what I'm doing right, morally or ethically? My decision making, just take a look at your decision making, and also think to yourself, if you're a boss and you have someone who is working their tail off through the workplace, wherever it is that you work or wherever it is that you will work, if that person is better than you, do you think that you could at least eventually step down or recommend that they get higher than you or promoted to your level? Could you do that? Could you sit back and actually sacrifice maybe your own promotion for someone that's better at something than you? And if you say no, or if you think that you couldn't, then maybe you need to rethink what you're doing, because obviously you're not passionate about what you're doing. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you would want it to be the best that it can be. If I am a weapons research and development, I should say, engineer, and my product is not up to point or up to par, and an intern comes in and is just coming out with all these amazing ideas, incredible ways of developing things, saving tons of money and generating lots of revenue, why would I not hire that person as fast as I could, tell them that I want them in my company, tell them that they have a chance to be a co-owner? I mean, even if you don't want to promote somebody above you, which I could see that happening, you know, you've worked for years too, just the same. So I could see that far, but at least like co-ownership or partnership or second in command right under you, you know, if you're given the opportunity to give someone a promotion who deserves it, or to pay somebody more who deserves it, then you should do that, whether that person is a male or a female. Tying this back into feminism, like I said, it doesn't make sense to me. If somebody's qualified for something or more qualified for something than somebody else, pay them more. If not, then don't. It's just, it makes sense that way. And for all those ladies out there that are watching this, don't be afraid to enjoy math and science. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't be afraid to like Barbies. Like, that doesn't, just because all of these people are putting a negative stigma, like, you can go the other direction. So we have to be careful. We have to remain neutral. Just be yourself, people. I don't know how else I can stress that. I don't know. I don't understand people making fun of others in this mature society, or in this place that I'm living in now, where people come together every day that are totally different. Everyone's accepted. and I'm loving it, and I encourage all of you to give that a shot. If you like this commentary, if you want to see more, don't forget to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. I'm interested to see all of your comments. Shadow Rockets out.